Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen, in our best of 3 series at the semifinal of the Roccat VersaSphere Invitational. To the left side in blue we have Nexo, the Spanish Armada, with Vortex on a Zebo, Paquetto on the Uther, Lucifer is playing the Arthurs, and Paltan the Tigers. LoL VersaSphere jumping on the Kerrigan, and the comp that they have here is also meant to just like shut down what nFaculty, the team playing to the right side in red, is trying to do. They picked Zagara first, and also the Stitches. Zagara Stitches their first picks, the Asmodan of course making then the heart of the push comp, whereas Green now jumped on the Rhaegar and Lotus on the Tyrael. Maybe even a good idea with that comp would have been to go for a Reyna. Reyna wasn't banned, we had bans on Tassadar, on Abathur, and another ban then later on the Chen, whereas we saw a ban, actually down here already the first fight with Zagara in trouble. nXo with the first blood, getting a holo as well. Really well done. Wow, that was a very, very impressive performance there, getting a very early kill, and of course especially Kerrigan involved in this. Kerrigan a great hero at the beginning of the match. I want to also give a quick shout out to our player up at the top, to Stitches. Apparently he screwed up a bit when he renamed his account. He's actually called Exxon and not Xon, and yeah, now we're finally able to properly pronounce his nickname. So Exxon on the Stitches here. And down to the bottom lane, that's where the push is starting to go ham, with Asmodan just being such a great hero when it comes down to that. At level 4 he becomes a lot stronger though, since he can finally start to promote minions. Zagara is going to have that ability later on as well, to just like encourage her own minions to do a bit better here. And that's exactly what we are going to see extremely soon in the game. They are just trying to just push that wall in, and of course with the shrines activating, you want to dominate the bottom lane as much as you can. Down here we already have Lucifer moving in once again. Vortex is there, LoL VersaSphere looking for an opportunity. Stitches has taken the top shrine, and we have in the mid lane still Tigers up versus Paltan. Down here, LoL VersaSphere, Lucifer and Vortex are really doing a great job of pushing them back. Oh, the stun comp missing, but the wall of zombies hits home and Cypher goes down. LoL VersaSphere in a bit of trouble, and oh wow! I couldn't even see the hit point bar anymore after Holo got his slam dunk in there, but did not kill the hero. Here comes another Howling Blast as Paltan moves down, and Green out gets just wrecked completely. 4 kills versus 0. Really well played so far. Up at the top, Paquetto versus Exxon is getting still pushed in pretty hard. Like the Uther is trying to do what he can, but it's getting a bit difficult for him. And now with so many kills already on Nexo, it looks like they are attempting to get the first Dragonite by rotating a few heroes up to the top lane. And Exxon is in trouble, especially since Lucifer is also moving in. Here comes the first stun, and he's going to be locked down. A potential Howling Blast could have killed him as well. Both shrines are currently under the control of the red team of nFaculty, and nFaculty might get their first kill here against Paltan. Not quite, as Lucifer moves in to help him out. At the top lane, Kerrigan grabbing one of the shrines, and down to the bot lane, Vortex is pretty much alone against the Zagara and Asmodan push. Not really the best position to be in, but his team is already starting up new rotations to try and help him out. At the top lane now, Stitches has a new opponent, Paquetto moving in too, but LoL VersaSphere was holding the experience for a bit longer. Looks like Kerrigan wants to just refresh the mana pool, whereas Lucifer at the bot lane is attempting to help out his brother. The Spanish brothers are there, and well, Asmodan and Zagara are starting to do their thing. We have now the promotes up as well, level 7 versus level 6. Here comes the move up against Cypher, and nice grenade by Paltan, throwing Zagara back, and the kill against the pushing hero. Kill number 6 for Nexo. The Spanish Armada is on course right now, and so far nFaculty hasn't really been able to do anything against them. The top lane, where we have Xon taking a shrine, he makes sure that there's no Dragonite for the opponent's team just yet, but we have an entire level up now for Nexo. Looking at the talents here, now that we are on level 7, you can already see that we have first of all bound minion taken by the Asmodan, and we also see at the same time a slam build for the Stitches. We have up at the top gathering power and a mule taken for Nexo. So with all the pushing potential that we see from the opponent's team, they want to make sure that they have something to repair the structures, and it's a really interesting choice there. That's actually where the talent system really comes into play. For most of the heroes we have currently builds that can be seen as standard, which are usually taken. But depending on what kind of composition you're facing, small adjustments are always possible, and that's exactly what we see from nXo there, and I like it quite a lot. To the top lane, we have an attempt to take Exxon down again. Exxon here a bit in trouble. Roccat is moving in for another potential stun. Paltan actually with a dash, but Exxon, oh, he was actually thinking about throwing a hook there. Down at the bot lane, we have once again Zagara dying. She's the preferred target of that squad that we have there with Kerrigan, Arthas, and then also the Witch Doctor. It's actually really difficult to escape from those three. Kerrigan with the Ravage has a nice gap closer, can then go for the stun comp, and always with Lucifron moving in on the Arthas and then a potential Howling Blast. That does quite a lot of damage, and once the hero is locked down, it's an easy move from the Witch Doctor to just drop a wall of zombies. The Stitch is now down as well. 8 kills versus 0. Level 10 already for nXo. They have the heroic abilities, they have their ultimates, and they're moving in against Holo. Here comes another move with the ultimate this time. The Ravenous Spirit might be able to drop Holo. Yes! Drops the Asmodan, and now I think it's time for the first Dragon Knight. Lotus is jumping in, cancelling it out. The channel process was already active, but here the move against Sypho, and the Zagara dies again. 4 kills, additional ones, 11 versus... Oh, they get the first kill for them. Lotus gets the first kill for nFaculty. It's 11 kills versus 1, but he cannot prevent this Dragon Knight. The Dragon Knight, 5-6 minutes in, level 11 versus level 9. Vortex is already trying to break the wall here. At the top lane, Exxon was trying to capture the shrine to prevent the worst, but he was a bit too late. A nice promoted push, though, to try and at least drop one wall as well. Only Roccat is still there, and trying to just, like, take those promoted minions down as fast as he can, but it's pretty tricky for them. Level 10 by now also for nFaculty, so they have their heroic abilities as well. And Exxon needs to move back since Lolver60 on the Kerrigan is starting to move in. Down to the bottom lane, Vortex is still going ham on the Dragon Knight with another Breath of Fire, taking down one of the towers and punting the Asmodan away. Nice kick. Should give at least 2 points here for the conversion. Green out is attempting to... Oh, and another kick, and pam! Zagara goes down. Zagara can fly. I believe I can fly. Nope, Queen of Blades, I'm sorry, but yeah, you lost that ability a long time ago. Top lane, Xon doing a really good job with this. I mean, he's helped out by his allies with the promotes, but still doing pretty well, up to the point where he's suddenly ganked by 4 players, and even the Gorge on Paltan didn't really help with that. But that opens up the bottom lane for another push, and that's exactly where nFaculty is now suddenly using all their abilities, going straight for Vortex. Nice move with the Judgment here. Vortex about to die, and he goes down. The slam dunk move by Asmodan, but Sypho, oh, healed by the Ancestral Healing, really well done. He might actually survive a fight. Great mob by him, but of course he dies in the end. For him, it must be a very frustrating game right now. He's always the first target for nXo, and I don't think that's very enjoyable for him. Lotus is trying to jump back, but Lucifron is already there with another Howling Blast. He could lock down the Teriel, and he gets that in. Doesn't even need to Howling Blast. Roccat sustaining a bit of damage, but it's not too bad. Stitches is moving up to the top lane to maybe drop a fort or at least pressure it. The problem for them is that down at the bot lane we have a massive push going on for Nexo. The Spanish Armada is just rolling down structures one after another, doing really well there. Looking at the top lane, we have that small fight between Vortex and Exxon, and with the talents, of course. If we're going to take another look at that, we have picked up by the Uther already the speed, we have the Biting Cold on the Arthas. A little bit of a switch from what we usually see from him, but that's becoming more and more common to actually go for the Frozen Tempest damage increase. We also see Giant Killer taken for the Tigers. In regards to the heroic abilities, nothing really out of the ordinary. Demonic Invasion, of course, for the Asmodan helps him just to drop those structures a lot faster. So, down to the bottom lane, we have a 4-man rotation now, with a 5th coming in to take the first few mercenaries. Mercenaries are also pushing for nFaculty, but nFaculty is not really having a good time in his first game. They are down 3, well, let's say 2 levels at this point. They have 2 kills against 14, and their push comp didn't really work out so far for them. They have not pushed a single fort just yet. On the contrary, we've seen Nexo doing most of the pushing, and they take another kill here with their quick rotations on the map and the lockdown against the opponent's heroes. They have the 15th kill now against only 2 for nFaculty. At the bottom lane, Green out and the rest of the team, Cypher, Holo, are starting to take another shrine, but Roccat is already moving in. Lolber60 is there too for the stun comp. Could jump in and do some damage there. Here comes first of all the first stun. Does he go for the rogue ability? Not just yet. It's a 3 versus 4, 4 versus 4 now suddenly. And Lucifron is moving in on the Arthur, as manly as he is with sword in hand. He jumps in and takes down Zagara again. I have to check how often Zagara died. Zagara was taken out 7 times already. 7 times. That is pretty nasty. Like, poor Zagara here. She has no escape, so of course she's the first victim in the fight. Greenout is getting kicked in his ass, and that drops him right there. So it's 17 kills versus 2, and at the same time, moving down to the mid lane now, we have another fort being attacked. Vortex is in the dragon once again. At the top lane, there's this lone Stitches that is trying to do something. He gets some support by the promotes here and a bound minion, but as you can see, Exxon is not really in a position where he can do too much, and it looks like Nexo is really eager to take him out. That's why we see him TP back. Oh, why did he cancel that? Oh my god! Oh, he could have gotten away there, but Exxon now getting taken out by his opponent. There comes the Karrigan with the lockdown, and goodbye Stitches. Down to the bottom lane. What do we have there? We have still the Dragon Knight alive for another 15 seconds. And yep, there we go. 17 levels versus 14. That's what we currently see in favor of well-met. Sorry, of course, Nexo. My bad, wrong team. But yeah, doing really well here. 18 kills versus 2, and in terms of talents, I mean, we have double, triple stone skin already taken. Oh my god, that's going to be brutal in those fights. I'm not quite sure if we're going to see Nexo with another kill, to be honest with you. They don't really have a lot of combo potential for the composition that they are using right now. The idea is not to team fight. The idea with this is actually to dodge the movements of your opponent and just like rotate around them. Make sure that you always get in a position where you can move in with the Zagara, with the Asmodan, and then drop a structure. Go in, promote the minions, just have the lanes pushing, and that never happened. That Zagara is just like fodder. She's like in any other game we would say Zagara is currently feeding the crap out of Nexo, and she's total fodder. Even that move with the Gorge, with the hook and Gorge against Khaldor didn't work at all, since he just simply dropped the Odin, and the rest of the Nexo team moved in. But as it happens, we could see a kill on the Arthurs. Nope, Lucifron is not dying here. 3 heroes down, 4 nFaculty, a 4th dying as Tyrell gets annihilated, and the fort is down to ho. But as it happens, Uther Roccat gets dropped in the face, so he dies. I think he actually died to a minion, didn't he? So yeah. Another victim in the battle here. 3 kills against 22, but level 18 versus level 16 is kind of telling us already what's going on in this game. Another camp is already being taken by Nexo, and they are pushing the bottom lane with with 2 pair of siege giants now, with the second one now moving in. And all they have to do is actually like hold this. Like those siege giants alone do so much damage. We could actually just see the Uther, if he comes back in time. I don't think he will. 20 seconds is a bit too much. If the Uther was with this push, he would probably just heal up the siege giants for as long as he can to let them do the damage against the wall, which we don't have yet. But with another shrine coming active in like 5 seconds, we should see one of the heroes rotate to the top lane and trying to grab that shrine and go for another Dragon Knight. Doesn't really look as if one of them wants to be isolated though, and I guess it's probably the better choice too if you want to make sure that you are not suddenly getting picked off one by one. So we see the top shrine taken by nFaculty, but they are definitely in trouble now. If they don't get an opportunity to push down a lane like really hard and maybe drop fort and keep, or at least get a couple of kills in there, they won't be able to recover from this. With the comp that they have, they are trying to play a completely different game style than the one that they are currently forced to play, and they don't don't want to play that. They don't want a team fight. They don't want to end up running up against like heroes one by one or like into 5 versus 5 fights. They just want to rotate around the map and do their damage, and that's something that nXo didn't allow at all. nXo is playing this extremely well, always in a position where they just say like, alright, we rotate down, we drop the Zagara, we are going towards the fort, take that. And yeah, you can really see how nFaculty is trying to get into those positions, and they are trying to do it at the top lane now, which is once again being pushed. But just look how much damage that Mule already healed. The Mule was active the entire game. It was probably the most important talent here for nXo, and they are going to get another dragon, aren't they? Yes, they will. The dragon has been taken. Roccat up at the top was making sure that the shrine wasn't taken by nFaculty, and now nFaculty has to defend again. They might finally be able to drop a fort, and yes, they will. But that only is going to help them towards level 18. We have nearly level 20 at this point for nXo. The Spanish Armada is just unstoppable right now. We have them trying to drop the first keep here with that knight, with a Dragon Knight. 5 heroes already for nFaculty defending, and the Dragon Knight is starting to move in, starting to just like get into position. But with all the pushing power that we see from nFaculty, they're at least able to hold for now, and Lucifer is getting extremely low on the Dragon Knight here. Needs to move back. But you could really see that the plan that we saw from nXo worked out very well. They're gonna lose a bit more though, like all these promotes, all these bound minions and everything that we are seeing from nFaculty is finally starting to do some damage. But of course, with now the rotation coming to the top for nXo, they're still able to defend the wall. But we have another attempt to drop the next fort down at the bottom, and that might be just in time before the rest of the army is there. The fort is down, and that's really the strength of the composition that we see being played by nFaculty. They get another fort being dropped, but it's level 20 versus level 18 now. Good more, but the stun against Green out, and he's getting dropped. Couldn't even get out of the wall on zombies in time. So 2 heroes currently down for nFaculty again. And nFaculty is just like trying to somehow retreat in with at least having some grace left, but we have already the Spanish Inquisition on the move. They are merciless, and they are starting to push that in. They show absolutely no regret, no mercy, and they are just like going for the fort, for the keep, trying to drop the first one, and they might as well try and get a second one behind this. Just like taking the tower and moving back again, but they have another 20 seconds before the next hero is going to be up. Trying to drop the Zagara, but this time we have her in position. Nearly level 21 versus still level 18. It's going to be the 19 soon, but that level 20 talent is of course super important. We have a Resurgence, we have the Divine Hurricane, the Annihilating Spirit, Big Red Button, and a Bolt of the Storm with the abilities. Stitches, by the way, on Exxon with a complete slam build that we see from him, and a few changes that we also had with Zagara going straight for the Hunter Killer talents here. So down at the bottom lane, we still have. Well, it looked for a second like they wanted to try and maybe like take one of the camps. They didn't really get too lucky with that. 25 kills versus 3 is pretty telling, especially when you take the amount of forts that has been dropped into account as well. But those promotes are really starting to do quite some damage, and that is where the strength of nFaculty's lineup currently lies. So what they are trying to do is just like have like promotes up at the top and move with the entire team down at the bottom, and maybe push in when the opponent is too far away because they are trying to defend. The Mule once again coming in, and that Mule is just so awesome. I pointed that out earlier a bit, but with the Mule it's great for nXo because they can always just like try to maybe get one of those, forts healed up to full health once again. Here comes another approach, this time the quick gorge against Kerrigan by Exxon, and are they gonna get a kill? Doesn't really look like it. It actually looks like exactly the opposite, with the Ravener Spirit already moving in. Look at that stun! Stitches is already down, the Tyrael is dropped as well, even with the Maw here, that's not gonna change. And Gran Paquete is still alive. They are starting to hunt the rest of the team, but we have Holo and Greenout moving back in the middle. Zagara was able to escape too. Both shrines are active, and we're having Vortex run up to the Sun Shrine at the top of the map. The rest of the team moving into the middle. It's going to be another Dragon Knight for nXo, and of course with them scaling into the late game here, we have now an extremely strong push coming from nXo. They have the catapults moving in there as well, and this might actually just be game, because Lucifron, or actually Lolbers XD on the Dragon, I don't think he's going to bother with another keep. They're going straight for the core here. It's a 5 versus 3. Why delay. They're just kicking one of the heroes away, and just like, look how fast the shields are dying here. Not only the shields, the hit points are rushing down on that core, and this is game number 1 ending in favor of Nexo in the best of 3 series here at the semi-final of the Roccat VersaSphere Invitational. So congratulations to Nexo. Let's go into game number 2 of the best of 3 series. Game on for game number 2. Starting to the left side, Nexo in this best of 3 at the semi-final of the Roccat VersaSphere Invitational. In a 1-0 lead in the best of 3 series against nFaculty. We have Vortex playing Reyna, Paltan the Vala, Lucifron is on the Arthurs, and LOL vs XD picked up the Zeratul, and Grand Paquette once again on the Uther. Apparently that means something like Big Noob. We have, for nFaculty, the right side in red, Cypher on the Tacita, Holo is on the Nova, Green out with the Rhaegar, Lotus playing the Illidan, and Exxon on the Anubarak. So, in regards to the hero composition that we see there, the first thing that becomes very transparent is that we have not a lot of... Like, we don't have a tank for nFaculty. They have a few melee heroes. They are currently looking in that regard at especially the Illidan and also, of course, the Anubarak. But it's not really that tanky lineup where you have like a tank with a big and strong health pool like the Arthurs, like a Stitches, who was, by the way, banned by nFaculty, or other heroes, like a Chen, who was banned by Nexo. So right now, I feel staying alive is going to become a bit of a problem for the nFaculty team, and it might become a problem for Xon here. Exxon is, boring away, is not going to be dropped there. We still have a lot of damage potential though for nFaculty. The Vala might run into problems later when Nova is trying to take her out, especially the Illidan is of course another threat that Vala might be, might be a bit too afraid to do anything. Oh, but Holo is about to get dropped by the Zeratul. Well done by Nexo, getting the first kill here, and they're trying to jump in again. The Illidan already moving out. It was a 3 versus 2 with a quick rotation here by Paltan up to the middle to make sure that he could assist if need be. Vortex down at the bottom lane is using his Inspire, trying to push that lane in. We still have Green now, just soaking the experience and being in the bushes, hiding as a wolf, as Exxon and Holo are starting to move in. But ooh, apparently a kill up at the top against Illidan, so another kill already for Nexo. They try to go for the counter kill versus Vortex, but yep, so far nFaculty down 2 heroes, lost 2 at the beginning of the game. And that is a bit unfortunate for them. That Zeratul is doing a very good job with the rotations apparently, and they are also taking the first seats here in Garden of Terror, a map where of course the plants are going to be extremely important. So the Spanish team is doing very well here once again, at least at the beginning of the match. Doesn't really have to say anything. With the lineup that we see for nFaculty, once they get a bit of momentum, they can definitely come back into this. They're not too far behind in experience, but they need to be careful with this. There comes the healing ward. We have LOL vs XD moving in. Can Nova maybe use a snipe? I think she's still in cooldown. And Lucifron is of course trying to lock her down, but doesn't get the opportunity to do that. Quick heal from Grand Paquette is helping out there. Is up at the top. Lotus is trying to close that experience gap by just getting a few more creeps down. So that's the idea behind that. Just like soaking the lane, making sure that they're closing the experience gap a little bit. And so far Paltan was playing extremely safe and passive, not extending onto the map, which is a smart move if you're up against an opponent that plays not only with an Illidan but then also with a Vala. So the Vala, not with the Vala, of course with the Nova. So the Vala playing this really well so far. Looking at the first talents, we have actually Manticore taken here, and as you can see down here we have also Gathering Power on the Nova. The move against Exxon, and that was very patient by Nexo. They were waiting in here until the Anubarak were low and the mercenaries were about to be taken, and then jump in, take another kill, get the mercenaries, and that of course gives them a lot of space and room to take the big terror at the top. Down to the bottom, the attempt to drop Vortex. Holo was already moving in and Green Out is there as well, but they cannot take him down. At the top lane, Grand Paquette is going up against Lotus, but the more important story is that seed chunk that was just like taken by Nexo. So they're looking at 3 kills versus 0. They have level 7 already, and they can now move down to the bottom lane and maybe take another big plant there, going for that terror, and it looks very much like that's exactly what they're trying to do. At the top lane, Lotus and Grandpaquette are still like fighting it out, with now Nova looking at a position where she can maybe land another snipe. So far she didn't really get the opportunity to do a lot of damage in the game. Well, up to the side, what do we have there? Once again the reveal against the Terror. And so far nFaculty is really just trying to protect the Terror. There are 3 kills down, that's an entire level as well. We have Nexo with very nice moves on the map, not only getting those kills in, but then also soaking the experience constantly. Paltan against Khaldor needs to be careful, but here comes the immediate drop against it. Well done. LOL VersaSphere jumps in, blocks and cleaves, and then Lucifron locks her down with his Howling Blast. Great job by them. And no. Well done by Reyna here. No chance for Exxon and Green now to drop him. We have the first plant now taken by Nexo, and they're getting a lot more seeds than that. The stun by Exxon here doesn't really do anything. Like, he can stun them, but he cannot engage into it and try to steal the seeds. He just doesn't get that chance. We have level 9 versus 8, and that of course means that the level 10 is gonna hit extremely soon for Nexo as well. I have another rotation towards that hard camp now. Holo and Cypher trying to take that hard camp, and they are assisted by Lotus, who jumps in with the Illidan. You need to be careful with that they are not getting ganked there, but they're gonna get it. This time they're gonna get it, and we had actually Cypher also using his D and making sure that he gets the vision, that nothing happens to that. But the problem, of course, with that hard camp is that the only thing that LOL VersaSphere has to do on the plant is drop a quick pot right now, and that hard camp will just like disappear. And there it is already, so the Knights are going to disappear in a second. They're getting all that damage in, so all that work for absolutely nothing, and even more damage done to the wall as the rest of the team moves straight into the middle, and they have the 10s now. So we are seeing the heroic ability for Nexo, and nFaculty is still waiting for it. That wall is going to be breached with 4 heroes already moving in, and the Siege Giant's helping out too, especially Vortex with this Inspire on the Reyna is helping out a lot with that. Towers already down at the top lane. Well, LOL VersaSphere is still attempting to just breach that wall, and of course he can also force a reaction out of nFaculty, and they are moving up to the top now. Nexo actually, that is. nFaculty has to react. They really have to right now. They already lost the wall down here in the mid lane, and at the top lane they've lost one as well. LOL VersaSphere moving in with another quick pot, can maybe damage another incoming wave, but Lucifron with a nice Howling Blast, again his pursuers. Now we have Xon trying to block him out, but Xon gets stunned and maybe even dropped. Wow, they didn't kill him, and here comes the heal. Uh-oh, that was not well done by Nexo, and they lose the Arthurs because of it. 4 kills versus 1. They might have even lost the Uther if not for that Void Prison that we see there. Really well done. Nexo just like got a bit, I don't even want to say too cocky, they just like misjudged. They thought the Arthurs was already down. Sorry, the Anubarak was already down, and then they completely just moved away from him, and they were like, yeah, okay, he's dead, but he wasn't. And then suddenly that Ancestral Healing comes in, the 10 just hits at the perfect time for him, so he gets the healing in, and then suddenly Arthur's in a really bad spot, and he gets dropped. Still a level advantage, a pretty significant one that we see for Nexo. Looking at the talents here, Metamorphosis, of course, for the Illidan. It's the standard build with the Shadow Shield, with Immolation, and also the first aid that we see for him. Of course, also no surprises here with the Holo's Nova, looking at a Precision Strike. If we're having a quick look at the damage output on terms of Nexo, that's actually really a lot, with like Searing Arrows on 2 heroes, the Reyna as well as also the Vala, and Siphoning Arrow with Manticore. Vala is gonna have a lot of right-click DPS, like a ton of it. So not relying on that multi-shot build that we see being played a lot on both servers, not only EU server but also on the American server, and instead just like trying to go for a really good right-click build. That Siphoning Arrow is becoming more and more popular when it comes to Vala players trying to stay alive. Well, Illidan was not prepared for this attack. That didn't work out for him at all. And it's again these rotations. It's just the rotations that we see from Nexo that nFaculty doesn't seem to be prepared for. They are already moving in and taking additional seeds, and that will give them a very fast second plant that they get now. Moving towards the Terror up here at the top lane. What I like is that we have now at least the Night Camp starting to push in towards the fort at the bottom lane. But the 13 talent will give Nexo an advantage in the next fight. Of course, nFaculty is also trying to drop one of the terrors as fast as they can. But they're a little bit slow here. We already have Nexo moving in. And they force them back, try to lock somebody down. Lolver60, nice move there. Goes straight for the Void Prism, and now the Howling Blast, the stun. And Illidan is jumping in, doing a great job against Paltan, trying to drop him. The Reyna is nearly dead, and down goes Vortex. Lolver60 might be in a bit of trouble. Suddenly, nFaculty is starting to turn things around here. Lolver60 healing up at the rest of the team too. They might try and move in once more, but they lost the Anubarak, so it's still a 4 versus 4. The Mercenaries are pushing in, but with Nexo already back to full HP thanks to the well, they could start to turn this around once more. And they're going for the Illidan here. They might get him, and there is that right-click damage that we talked about when we were looking at Paltan's build for Vala. Gets a drop on the hero, and of course now Illidan is going to take, sorry, not Illidan, but Reyna is going to take that plant. And we do not have a plant for the opponent's team. And actually with the plant and with the heroes that they still have alive, they could take the seeds for an additional plant right after that. They might have enough for that. No, I actually don't think it's going to be enough. It's going to be close, but I don't think they're going to be able to get a second plant right after this one. They will have a significant surplus in seeds though. And yes, 96. Extremely close, but they're missing a few seeds to get plant number 2. So in the mid lane now we have once more Nexo moving in. And the Spanish Inquisition, they are definitely trying to drop not only the fort, but even more than that. The pot is being taken down. Xon is already polymorphed. And here comes Lolver62. The Zeratul is starting to do his damage. Paltan and the Reyna, they can do so much DPS with that Searing Arrow and the right-click build that they're currently using. Level 13 is, of course, by now also there for nFaculty. They get that extra talent. Oh, Lolver60 needs to be careful against Nova, and he is. Nice moves against that Precision Strike. Paltan jumps out with a Vault immediately. And now nFaculty is trying to push them back. Really well done. A lot of heroic abilities, on the other hand, have been used already. They're down in those. Lucifron moves in, uses the Army of the Dead. Here comes the Metamorphosis. Void Prism is already used to isolate 2 heroes, and Lotus is down before the Void Prism duration is up. And down goes the Anubarak as well. He's getting dropped here. We have Holo trying to move away. Oh, Lolver60 is in trouble. He doesn't have the blink. Here comes the heal, but Holo is going to die at the end of the day. Just way too much damage there. And with Paltan and Arthur's moving in here, didn't have a chance of running away at all. They knew where he was, and they revealed him with a quick multi-shot, and then his life just like dwindled away right in front of them. Vortex out of the plant, they drop the fort, and they're rotating towards the top right now. It's that map control. Once you have the momentum going, once you have an advantage, you're up in heroes, you want to do as much damage as possible. And then the rotations become extremely important. You can either go for the mercenaries and take those, you can try and take one of the fours, just rotating from one spot to another and trying to just run with the advantage that you have. If you can, of course, force a fight with a 5 versus 4, that's great for you as well. You might be able to drop 1 or 2 more. But in heroes, it's always a threat that if you overextend, if you play too greedy, if you think you are too far ahead and you're getting cocky, then one bad team fight can bring your opponent's team back to the same level, and you might lose it after all. 10 kills versus 2, and Nexo is playing it safe. They're playing it extremely safe there. They're just like moving back to their side of the map, taking the mercenary camps right now. They leave the mercenary camps to the right side for nFaculty. They're just saying, boys, we have the 16 talent. We can just group up, we can wait for the next night, we can force those fights, we can go into the team fights and then take it from there. And that is probably what they're going to do here. At the top lane, we have the deep push against the Siege Giants that are moving in from Nexo. Nexo is doing the same thing in the mid lane, taking down the Siege Giants and already starting to move a bit more up towards the top to maybe get another kill in there, especially with the initiation from Lolver60 with the Void Prison. They can do a lot with that. But down here, the move by nFaculty towards the middle of the map. Night already announced, another 25 seconds until we see the seeds appear on the map once more in form of the terrors. And with those, they could get another... Actually, like both teams could get another plant, but if nFaculty loses another fight here, we might actually see a double plant for Nexo, and fighting 2 plants back to back is absolutely brutal. I love that, by the way. That dwarf is just like cute as hell. So we have them actually going for maybe even the hard camp. No, they're not bothering the hard camp just yet. They're going immediately for the seasons. Once again, that switch. The top and the bottom camps are being taken, and it looks like, yes, Nexo wants to fight. They still have the 16 talent and they want to fight right now, and they are already moving in. They want to get that as is, and they're jumping in immediately. Reyna's Radar's already activated. Here comes the Inspire being used. Nice Void Prism by LolVer60, and they're surrounding those heroes immediately. Here comes the Precision Strike. It doesn't even matter. Insta kill on 2 heroes, and Xon is being dropped now too. They are going for the seeds. We don't have enough seeds for nFaculty. They don't even have the 16 yet. And now with the seeds taken for Nexo, they might actually get enough for 2 plans. They're already moving down to the bottom. That's exactly the same idea that nFaculty is. They're saying like, boys, we need the seeds right now. We need a plan. And they are grabbing just barely enough seeds to get a counter plan. But if Nexo moves in to take the second big terror, then it won't matter at all. We are gonna see 2 plans back to back for Nexo in that case. The fort down here was taken out. The mercenary camps here made it possible. The pod on the other hand, of course, taking those down, but you can already see that it's exactly happening like I just described. We are seeing that particular horror now taken out by Nexo. The extra seeds is gonna make up for another 100, even more than that, like a lot more than that. So they will have 2 clans back to back, and we already have at the bottom lane Paltan starting to drop the gate and trying to kill the fort. Already moving in now as we speak, and where's another pod? There it is. Pod comes in. Up from the top we have the plant of nFaculty starting to get into position as well. That fort is already extremely low, and it's just going to be that plant battle with another plant just waiting on the horizon for Nexo. They are still looking at level 18 versus 16, so finally we have some talents there for nFaculty as well, but this is still extremely tricky. Both teams right now trying to just like play around the plant, making sure that they are not getting polymorph there, that they don't allow the opponent's team to initiate and drop one of the heroes. Both of them are really just looking for an opportunity to maybe engage it. You see how like the 2 plants just dance around each other, waiting for the cooldowns to be back. Once more the pot is being dropped here, and that fort is getting extremely low. LolVer60 is already waiting for an opportunity to maybe jump in and drop another Void Prism. Nearly 19 versus 17, and the rotation up to the top. They're starting to rotate. They have 8 seconds left on the plant. Paltan is there. Let's look real quick at the talents once again, now that both of the teams are looking at the 16 talent. We have Berserk being used by Reyna like he's a damage machine right now. He is just a damage monster at this point. He can melt away heroes so easily. The Shrink Ray is of course going to help Grandpa Cats to get control of one of the opponent's heroes. To just like force him down, make sure that he can't escape. Down here, another approach against the fort. 5 seconds on the plant that we have for Team nFaculty. But of course back there we have another one growing in just 1 second. And so far not a single hero dropped. It's 13 kills against 2, and that's now the time where Nexo can shine. They are going for that second plant, and once they have that, now 16 minutes in, they can do major damage to nFaculty. nFaculty still has all of their keeps. They still have an additional fort up as well, but they're 2 levels behind. And they only got 2 kills in the entire match right now, with a Nova on the team and an Illidan. So they weren't really able to like isolate that Vala. They didn't really get a chance to go up against that Vala and say like, alright, listen up buddy, you are gonna drop next. We have a Nova, we have an Illidan, we're just gonna go full ham on you and lock you down, isolate you from the rest of the team, and then you will die. They didn't get that chance at all. With another pot, mercenaries are taken out. Vortex is starting to move his plant into the middle of the map. And we see also LolVer60 just walking slowly towards that, using of course his cleave here. And at the top lane we have another camp pushing. So they are having a very, very nice lane power presence now. Having the top lane pushing in, the Illidan is trying to take care of that. Having the mid lane also being pushed. And Illidan is still there. He needs to move back, and that's what he's doing. But we still have up at the top those extra mercenary camps for Nexo. And once again, just vision granted for both teams. All of them now in the mid lane. Here comes Vortex once more, starts to move in. Nice move positioning here for the plant, taking down those 2 towers, easy peasy, like no trouble dropping the gates there. Actually, like one of the towers is still like maybe a hit point. I don't think it's more than that. And here comes the Void Prism. They count 3, and immediately the move. Oh, that stun so damn good. The precision strike doesn't hit anything, but Illidan was taken out before the fight even started. Xon is trying to escape. LolVer60 about to die, but he escapes somehow. Or did he? Oh my god, like this is amazing. Both teams keeping their heroes alive, but then Nova goes down. We have a 5 versus 3, a complete heal on the Illidan again as they're going up against the first keep in the game. LolVer60 just like blinking left, blinking right, up and down the entire time. He's so mobile on that hero just now. They drop the keep and they are moving in even a bit further, trying maybe to lock out Green out, but he moves back from the Howling Blast. Level 20 versus level 18 now. The bottom lane is still getting pushed in, but with those towers still intact, they just like take down the rest. The problem at this point for nFaculty is that we have Nightfall again, so there are seeds everywhere to be taken, and most of their heroes are still down or did just resurrect and didn't get a chance yet to move anywhere to collect additional seeds. So we're gonna have one more plant for nFaculty, sorry, for Nexo for sure. nFaculty might not be able to get enough seeds. They might actually not be in a position where they can get the seed count. Looking at it, they will definitely not get the seeds. We have 90 seeds at the top and we have 90 seeds at the bottom, and they only had 7, so they should end up with 97 seeds, even if they are able to grab every single one that is currently at the top of the map, and I don't think they will be able to do that. So we have once more Nexo moving in, and they will get a lot closer to getting another plant than their opponent's team. Instead we have just now another camp taken, but you all know what that means. That only means that the plant has to go in there, drop a pot, and then that's about it. They are not even bothering with a big horror over there or with the rest of the seeds. They're just moving straight into the middle. It looks very much like they want to end the game on the plant. This is nearly a 20-minute plant that we are talking about right now. And they scale so well into the late game that they at some point are just extremely strong and can nearly solo drop opponents' heroes. And they are going straight for the core. What a stun by Grandpa Keta! Oh my god! And they drop the core down to 50 already. Vala is about to die, but it's still 4 heroes on the field. Nexo, the Spanish Armada, moves in, drops their core, and takes the best of 3 series here at the Roccat VersaSphere Semifinal with a 2-0 against nFaculty. Congratulations to Nexo. Very, very well played.